2 intervals for total time. 2 rounds of 21 box jump overs, 20 inches on the box, 15 calorie row, 9 burpee box jump overs at 36 inches. You rest until 6-minute mark. Then 2 rounds of 9 burpee box jump overs, 15 cal row, and 21 box jump overs.
Recipe for success is delivered by Trifecta.
More speed is more rest. However, you don't want a red line on the way out.
Lane assignments here for the second of 3 heats. And in lane number 1 is Sayar Kaya out of Turkey, who is having a heck of a competition and is in the running for the best ever finish for a woman out of Asia.
36 seed coming out of semifinals, has actually improved as the Noble CrossFit Games have been going on. 20th in the ride, 32nd in the pig chipper, 26th inverted medley, 31 in the alpaca redo, 14th ski bag, 9 Helena, and 9th in the 5K. Top 10 finishes right there back to back.
And you saw Olivia Kerstetter, who right now would be the last woman to survive the final cut. 20th place overall for Kerstetter, right side of your screen as the athletes work through their 21 box jump overs. Karin Freyova and Elisa Fuliano, along with Annie Thorisdottir and Paige Powers, head to the rower. Paige Semens is there, as is Kerstetter. Now Fuliano getting to work.
And you see none of these athletes are tightening that strap, Sean. They're scooting right in and getting right to work. The damper setting is set to a 5, and the foot pad is set to a 3. So if you're a shorter athlete, there's no time to mess with the pad. It is what it is. You're just going to be given what you've got. But a longer, stronger, taller athlete may want to quickly adjust the damper if they have the effort to do so.
Emma Tall and Elisa Fuliano are on the left side of the screen. Tall in the black top is your leader, along with Annie Thorisdottir, who's going to get to those 9 burpee box jump overs, along with Karin Freyova.
Annie, one of the taller athletes in the field.
To make that Emma Tall, pardon me, in the blue.
36-inch box jump, burpee box jump over, no problem for her.
Annie Thorisdottir coming in 12th place overall. 403 total points. She's only 2 points back of Danielle Brandon for 11th, and then Annie Thorisdottir now is on to her second and final set of box jump overs. 21 reps here.
Now you'll notice Annie in lane 6 there, staying nice and upright. Danielle Brandon right behind her. Emma Tall also doing the same.
Annie Thorisdottir through 60 of the 90 reps here in this first interval. The 66 rep mark. She'll head back to the rower. And now Annie Thorisdottir leading heat number 2 here. Still waiting on an official time for Kelly Baker out of heat number 1, but we believe the total time for her was around 8:45.
And I believe, Sean, heat 1, when they got through these first 2 rounds, had a little more than 90 seconds to rest.
4 minutes 20 seconds from Shelby Neal was the top time in the first interval.
And Annie there with just 5 more calories to go. She had no problem getting up and over the 9 burpee box jump overs, 36-inch box. I expect her to potentially take this first part here.
Thorisdottir is done. 3 minutes and 22 seconds have now gone by. Now here comes Emma Carey, who's moved into second place behind Thorisdottir. Now Emma Tall and Karin Freyova, top of your screen. Tall in the blue, Freyova in the black.
Emma Carey there in lane 8, kind of walking over on her knees. Annie in lane 6, staying on her feet. little bit faster transition over the box.
And Annie Thorisdottir is in, and she'll come in at about 3:57. 3:58.38 seconds for Thorisdottir.
And Emma Carey snuck in second. Emma Tall, third.
Less than 2 minutes to go before we hit the 6-minute cap. Tall, Powers, and Freova are all in. Now Danielle Brandon is across. Sayre Kaya and Lisa Fuliano are the only two women left on the floor. Kaya's on her final rep.
Sayre Kaya coming all the way from the Asia semifinal. 36 seed out of there. Trains out of Oslo, so many games athletes train out of there. Coached by CrossFit Games vet Kristen Holte.
Kaya gets in at 4:44, and Fuliano is in at 4:48. But Annie Thorisdottir right now, the top time we've seen in interval number 1, 3:58.38 seconds. Emma Carey is right behind her, 4 seconds back, followed by Tall, Powers, and Freova. Let's send it down to Nikki Brazier on the floor.
Remember, this is going to be a sprint once we give them the cue to go.
Guys, I am seeing a lot of these athletes looking left, looking right, especially when they are on those rowers, trying to get a feel of where their competitors are against them in these intervals. They oftentimes talk to us about really running their own race, putting blinders on, not paying attention to what the women on their left and right are doing. But when there is no room for error, when there is no time to take your foot off the gas, a lot of these athletes seem to be adjusting on the fly.
1 minute.
And Annie taking a quick big breath in, nice sip of water, choosing to stay on her feet rather than some athletes you saw sitting. Here in your mind, you're just kind of thinking, gosh, should I come out with the right strategy? What was everyone to the right and the left doing? Or am I going to stay in my lane and just roll with what worked those first 2 rounds?
So in order to make things even from heat number 1, they have added some rest for the athletes here. Because in heat number 1, there was a bit of a timing snafu. A chip got tripped accidentally. They had to reset some things. So a little additional rest has been added here in heat 2 to keep things equal across this test. Then we are cutting down to 20 athletes here, and Sayre Kaya is on the right side of that line right now, but needs to do some work over these final 2 tests to keep herself safe. Annie Thorisdottir had your top time out of interval number 1 at 3:58.38 seconds. And now we go through this test in reverse order, starting with the 9 burpee box jump overs.
And middle of your screen there, the leader of the first 2 rounds, Annie Thorisdottir.
Emma Carey, who was among the first women to get back to the rower. Thorisdottir was right behind her, so much closer here at the start of this second interval than it was at the end of the first. Lisa Fuliano on the left side of your screen.
Which is interesting, because Fuliano there on the left side of your screen was actually one of the last athletes to finish the first 2 rounds. And Emma Carey there on your right side, lane 8, was one of the second to finish. We'll see who recovers the fastest.
$15 calories here, the 24 rep mark. They will move on to these 20 box jump overs, and it's Emma Carey, Annie Thorisdottir, and Emma Tall, your top 3.
2 different techniques being used here. You see the squattier jump versus the taller step over by Annie. So Emma squatting, Annie, lane 6, staying nice and tall.
Paige Powers there in lane 7, middle of your screen, in the army green shorts and blue shoes. Going through her 21 box jump overs as well. So at the 45 rep mark, it's back to the 9 burpee box jump overs at 36 inches. And there goes Emma Carey in the lead here on the second interval. She had about a 4-second deficit on Annie Thorisdottir at interval number 1. And now Emma Tall has moved into second in the all blue towards the top. Annie Thorisdottir in the middle of the screen. And here come Freyova and Danielle Brandon. Now Semenza and Kerstetter moving up. Emma Tall's in 13th place overall, so very much on the right side of that cut line, trying to get herself into the top 10 and possibly into the final heat. Emma Carey is your leader as she goes back to the rower now for 15 more calories.
Wow, she made up some ground being a shorter athlete against a 36-inch box. She made up some ground there. Just got down off the floor and up and over the box as quickly as she could.
Well, she does more than erase that 4-second deficit on Annie Thorisdottir as now Emma Tall, Danielle Brandon, and Annie Thorisdottir join Carey at the rower. Here come Paige Semenza and now Karina Freyova. Paige Powers and Olivia Kerstetter, along with Sarah Kaya getting into the rower. Kaya towards the far end of the floor in the all blue. Now every woman on her final 15-calorie row.
And Emma Carey there with the Noble sweatbands on her wrist, gets off first.
The 21 box jump overs here for Emma Carey. She was second in interval 1 with a time of 4:02.46 seconds. Emma Tall is now second. And here come Brandon and Thorisdottir at the same time. But Danielle Brandon was about 18 seconds back of Thorisdottir in the first interval. So Thorisdottir has a bit of a cushion to work with here when it comes to her battle with Danielle Brandon. Emma Carey's done and she is in, and Emma Carey in 3:59.21 seconds. So Emma Carey is going to have the new top time going into the final heat. Emma Tall is across.
And just what we expected, Sean. Director of the CrossFit Games, Adrian Bosman, said he wanted to see sub 4. He got it.
Danielle Brandon is in, and remember, Danielle Brandon had to make up 18 seconds on Annie Thorisdottir to beat her in this test. Now Thorisdottir is in, and now Freyova is in as well. So Brandon picked up 10 on Thorisdottir, so Thorisdottir will have a better total time than Danielle Brandon as Kerstetter and Powers are across along with Sarah Kaya. So Elisa Fuliano is the last woman out on the floor. Emma Carey will have the top time going into the final heat.
Emma Carey improved the further along she got into this workout. Her first 2 rounds were a little over 4 minutes. Her final 2 rounds, under 4 minutes. So impressive. She just got right to work and didn't stop. Saw the finish line in sight and nailed it.